Guys, making money with Gary. Today is September 17th, 2024, and I want to show you what I picked today in front of the house. I picked longleaf pine needles, and what do I do with these longleaf pine needles? I sell them. What do I get for them? I get $27 a pound. What do people use them for? People use them for crafts. What kind of crafts? They weave baskets. They make doormats. They make placemats. They make mats that go on a bureau on a jewelry box. Sits on them. They make brooms. They make plant holders that hold a pot and the plant hangs from the ceiling. They make all kinds of things. They make wall art that they'll make like a mat that hangs on the wall. They make all kinds of things with these longleaf pine needles, and they make good money with them. If somebody buys a pound off of me, they're going to take that pound, and with their craftsmanship, they're going to turn that into $500 or more by weaving and making things, making baskets and stuff, and selling them. And that's why people have no problem buying a pound off of me for $40 gross, and $27 is what they pay, and with the shipping comes out like $40. And I sell all different size orders. I'll sell 1 pound orders, I'll sell 3.5 pound orders, I'll sell 2 pound orders, I'll sell less than a pound. And a lot of times I'll sell less than a pound. People buy that just to start out with me to see what I'm all about. And then after they get my needles, they'll buy more off of me. And the needles here that fall in front of the house, they're full off of these trees. And these needles, some of them are 20 inches long. They range from 15 inches to 20 inches long. And people love long pine needles because they can weave with them and make all kinds of things. And right here, I picked for 2 hours. I've been out here picking, and I picked $107 worth of longleaf pine needles, 4 pounds, a little over 4 pounds. That's a little over 4 pounds in this bag. And right here, I want to show you something. And one longleaf pine needle has 3 prongs on it. And right there, that long needle right there is probably around 15 inches long. And I want to show you something. I want to show you, right here is 28 needles. Believe me, it's 28 needles. And them 28 needles is a ½ ounce. And that ½ ounce is worth 80 cents. So that right there is 80 cents. That's a ½ ounce. Now you take, I got another ½ ounce right here. And that other ½ ounce, I put them next to each other. That makes 1 ounce. And 1 ounce is $1.60. So right here in my hand is $1.60. That's around 56 needles, because it's around 28 needles to make a ½ ounce, 56 to make an ounce. 56 needles, and these needles range in length between, majority of them are between 13 and 15 inches, but I do have a lot of 18 inches in there. And that 1 ounce right there is $1.60. And right here in this bag is $107. That's $107. If I add this to it, I'm going to round it up and call it $109. It's $109 in this bag. And I've been out here for 2 hours. Now, don't forget, guys, I got to wash these. And the way I wash them is I put them in water with the shot glass of vinegar, a little bit of soap, and I agitate them. I leave them in the water for 4 minutes, then I take them out, and then I let them dry. And then they got to dry for like a day to really get dry. Then I bundle them and I sell them. And I sell them on a website called Etsy. It's E as in Eddie, T as in Tom, S as in Sam, and Y as in yarn. And I have a store there. I've been on this site for over 4 years, and I sell these for $27 a pound, average. And I move 100 pounds a month. So I make around $2,700 a month off of the longleaf pine needles. Plus I sell vintage books. The vintage books are not in this video because this video is about pine needles, longleaf pine needles. But I do also sell vintage books. And the vintage books I sell, I go to thrift stores and I buy them between 50 cents, $1, and a quarter. And I could turn around and find a vintage book worth $50 that I paid a quarter for. I can find a vintage book that I paid $1 for, and it's worth $100. I mean, I got a book I picked up the other day, signed by Jimmy Carter's wife, and I picked that book up for 50 cents, and that book is worth $50. Or I think I'm asking around $70. I have it in my store, and it's inscribed by his wife back in 1984, and it was given to somebody, and it's inscribed to him, and it's from her. and it has her name. She inscribed it and put her name. And I find books like that all the time. I found a book signed by Jimmy Carter himself. I found books signed by famous people all the time, and I sell these books for hundreds of dollars at times, depending on what the signature's worth. I do have a Jimmy Carter book signed by Jimmy Carter in my store right now. I'm asking a couple hundred for. And I have a lot of signed books. And I get a lot of first editions. I get a lot of old books. I get books from the 70s, 50s, 40s, 20s, from the 1800s. And not all books from the 1800s are worth more than newer books. Some of the new books are worth more. It all depends on the book, on the rarity of it. And you have to look all the stuff, and all the stuff takes time. You got to look and learn. Watch my videos, and you can learn how to make money selling vintage books. I move 100 books a month, and my price range is between $30 and $35 a book. So I average between $3,000 and $3,500 a month selling books, on top of selling longleaf pine needles. And when I first started doing this business, I was not making a lot of money. I was making a very little bit of money. And what happened was, I seen these longleaf pine needles in my front yard. They were falling on the ground, and I started picking them. And when I started picking these longleaf pine needles, first I started raking them. And I'm like, wait a minute, I never seen pine needles this long. They got to be used for something. And I started Googling on my phone, what are these longleaf pine needles used for? And I was just curious. I don't know. I just, my sixth sense kicked in and said, hey, check these things out. You know, they don't have these up in Jersey where I come from. But I come down here, South Carolina, they got these things falling out of the trees. And I was raking and burning them. I was raking big piles of them. When I first came here, I had 50 garbage bags from my front yard. Big, giant leaf bags full of pine needles, full of them. The garbage man wouldn't take them. I had to burn them all. I didn't know that. They don't take them. So I had to burn them all. I had to drag them all in the backyard and burn them. Now I was getting them out of the backyard. I had them in the backyard. They were like a foot deep. So this is my road. This is the main road right here. That road there goes up and down. And kind of like, I'll come off the road and I'll turn here. There goes a vehicle. And the cars do come fast down this road. There comes another vehicle. And I'll come down this road here. I'll turn in. And then I come back here. And there goes another vehicle. You hear it. And now, I'm coming, and I got to turn here. And I'm way back here. Here's where I am, back here in the back. There's only 2 houses back here. And directly in front of my house, I have 4 longleaf pine needles out in the front. Plus, I have longleaf pine needle trees in the backyard. And I was raking these when I first came here. I didn't know what to make of them. I knew they were a pain in the neck to get rid of. And they were like a foot deep on the ground. I was like, oh my God, these are a fire hazard. But so I started picking them. Once I found out they were worth money, after I burnt tons of them, I started picking the things. And then when I picked them, I had piles and piles of them. And I put them up on the internet. And I started out asking, I think way back, well then when I first started, which wasn't that long ago, when I first started selling them, I think I was asking maybe $20 a pound. And they were selling. I was selling them. And I wasn't selling a lot. I was selling a pound, 2 pounds a week. And that's how it started. A pound, 2 pounds a week. Now 6 months went by. A whole year went by, and I kept doing that. I started building up confidence in people buying them. I get more and more customers, more people buying the longleaf pine needles. Next thing you know, a year goes by, I'm selling 10, 15 pounds a week. following year, selling 20, 30 pounds a week. And that's where I'm at now. I've been there. So I moved 20, 30 pounds a week. I mean, there have been months where I moved 150 pounds of these. I've been scrambling to pick them because I had to fill my orders. And I mail them out. I'll tell you what. If somebody orders off of me, I got a 20-pound stockpile. They'll go out the next day. They'll go out within 2 days. They'll be out in the mail. So that's how I operate with these. I mail them out quick. And that's making money picking longleaf pine needles as they fall from the trees right in front of my house. How many people could do that? I've been out here 2 hours and picked $107, $109. 2 hours. And it's great. And I have a lot of customers, have a large clientele, have a large base. Once you do this for a few years, you get a large base, a large customer base. And now the vintage books I've been doing for a long time also. Not as long as the needles. The needles have been the longest. The vintage books I've been doing around over 3 years probably. And the needles I've been doing over 4 years. So there is money to be made in this stuff. And I love doing it. I don't mind doing it. It's easy money. And there's a lot of other things you could do besides doing selling longleaf pine needles. Like I said, you could go out to thrift stores like the Salvation Army. Don't go to Goodwill. They're too high. They're overpriced. I think that. If you do see a good book, you could go to Goodwill. Don't buy everything. Only buy a book if you know you're going to turn it, and make sure you're going to get 50 or more, because, you know, that way you'll have an opportunity to sell it for less if you got to move it and get rid of it. So, and if you go to like a thrift store like Salvation Army or a mom and pop shop, and the books are a quarter or 50 cents, church sale, garage sale, and you see some books that are, you Google them and check them out and see they're worth money, they're going to move fast, buy them. Pick a book up for a quarter, spend a couple dollars, spend $5 or $10, try it. Put them up on the internet, sell them, see what sells. Make sure, see how they move. Look at the books, see how quick they sell. What ones sell quick, what ones don't. Follow my videos, you'll learn all the stuff. I'll show you in my videos how to do this stuff. Look at my videos, look at me, look at what I do. And you'll see how I make money. I've been doing this for 4 years. I have 4 years experience. I've been doing this long before that. I've been selling on eBay since they started 30-something years ago, whatever. But now I'm semi-retired, and I've been selling on Etsy for 4.5 years straight. And believe me, I sold everything. I sold everything under the sun. And not only was I on Etsy, I was on eBay. Books once in a while, Bonanza Books, and a couple other sites. But Etsy turned out to be my #1 site because I was selling the craft stuff, the longleaf pine needles, and I was very surprised at the large amount of people that buy these things and how fast they move. At first, you know, the first year or so, I was making maybe $500 a month or something, and I was like, wow, that's something, you know, a little bit of side money. And it was, in the beginning, it was really bad. It was like $100 a month, and then after 6 months or so, it kicked in and moved up to around $200-300 a month, and it kicked in more and more, and now I'm like $2,700 a month, you know. And it's not bad. I've been doing it for a while. I like doing it. And I have done other stuff in the past. I sold the longleaf pine needle trees. I used to grow them in the backyard here. The trees, they kind of grow fast if you know what you're doing. It's a lot of tinkering, playing around with them. But I did it, and I had some trees in the backyard. And I was getting $40 a tree. And I was getting $40 a tree. And I was selling, charging for shipping and stuff, about $20-25 shipping. I was making like, because I was charging extra on the shipping, I was making like $40 in my pocket every time I sold a tree. And I did that for a while. Another thing I was doing was granite stone. I'm in Graniteville, South Carolina. So, you know, granite stone. I was getting the was going out and picking the stone, and I was getting a $1 a pound, which, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I was filling up a 5-gallon bucket and I was getting like $40. And I did that a few times. I did that, and then that stuff was heavy, but I was doing it mail. I was doing it priority mail, flat rate, so you could put as much weight in the box as you get. I put 40 pounds in the box, charged $40, plus charged $20 shipping for the flat rate box, and I'd mail it out and make $40. I did that. I'd charge extra for the box, make extra to pay Essie and stuff, and I put $40 in my pocket. I did that for a while, but the boxes were really heavy and it was awkward. And I did the pine needles. I did the pine cone seeds from the lonely pine trees. They sell 50 cents and $1 each. And I'd sell them in an envelope and move 20 of them for $10 or 10 of them for $5. I'd mail them out in an envelope, charge the people for the stamp in the envelope or whatever, and then charge her 50 cents a seed. Throw a couple extra in there. And the pine cone seeds, there's 150 seeds in a pine cone. And I used to take the pine cones when they dropped from the ground. I put them on a cinder block and I bang them. And all the seeds will fall out of them. I take a cinder block, put it right here in front of my house, right here. And I take the pine cones, I bang them on the cinder block, and they fall. The seeds will pop out of the thing, and I throw them in a bag. I accumulate hundreds and hundreds of seeds. And I'd sell these seeds. But, I was doing it, and it was no work. It was nothing. I mean, I'd go out for a couple of days, and I'd have like 1,000 seeds in a big, giant bag. And the bag wouldn't even weigh a pound. And them seeds would be worth hundreds of dollars. And I'd take these seeds, and I was only making a couple hundred a month doing the seeds. So it was extra money. It was easy money. It was nothing to do. It brought people to my store. It was something else I sold. So I did it. So I'm just filling you guys in. These are different things you could do. The best thing I did was with the longleaf. The longleaf, I do good. And I'll tell you what, the granite stone, I did good. I was picking a granite stone. People buy that stuff, boy. If you get it from the woods and stuff, and it's like real granite, it's people buy it. They put it in a fish tank. I don't know what they do with it, but they buy them. And I was hand picking them quick, and I'd fill up a 40-pound. I'd fill up a 5-gallon bucket and sell it for $40. But that was too heavy and stuff, and I said, let me get away from this stuff. So the vintage books, it's kind of fun. You go to a thrift store, you walk in there, you look around. You're in a thrift store just like, for instance, a Goodwill, but I don't normally go to Goodwill. And you look around that thrift store and you find somebody's grandmother or grandfather passed away, and he might have a book signed by the president. Well, the grandkids, they don't know any better. They get the books, they want to sell the house. Grandpa left them the house. So what are they doing? They're taking all these books and they're dropping them off at Goodwill and dropping them off at the mom and pop thrift store. And saying, here, could you take these just to get rid of them? And the thrift store takes them, and then the thrift store puts them up 50 cents, $1. I go in there and I say, oh, wow. Oh, wow, this book here is signed by Jimmy Carter. This one's signed by his wife. Oh, this one's signed by a famous golf player. Oh, wow. And all these books are worth money. And I'm turning around like, okay, $500 worth of books. Oh, keep your mouth shut. Okay, don't say nothing. I walk up to the cashier. All right, that's $5 for these 10 books, 50 cents a book. And I'm like walking around with a big smile on my face. I throw them up in my store. A month or two go by and I get $500. Boom. And I have over 1,900 items in my store. So like the books, I'm constantly rotating them. I list 100 books, I sell 100 books. I list 100 books, I sell 100. Not in a day. No, not in a day. I might list 3 a day, I might list 5 a day. But I'll list, within 1 month, I'll have 100 books listed, if not more. And within 1 month, I'll sell 100 books. And right now, my store, I think I have around 1,870. I was up over 1,900, and it went down. Kept selling the books, and I got to beat it back up, and it gets beaten down. But that's and there's tricks too you could do. Sometimes I'll take books that ain't worth a lot of money, like $5 or something, but they're real popular. What are worth is like everybody has one, but they're in the range where I know they're going to sell really fast. I'll throw it on $5 books in my store, and I'll bring a bunch of traffic. They'll looking for them books, and they'll be looking at my other books, and I'll, you know, it brings me traffic doing that sometimes, selling the cheaper books. Sometimes you sell the cheaper books to something real popular book that just came out. Well, it has to be over 20 years old. A book 20 years old that's popular, and maybe everybody's selling it. You put it up for $5, that's $5 shipping. And even if you only make $4 on it, but that book brings a bunch of traffic to your store, and there's a good chance they'll buy some of your other books, and, you know, stuff like that happens. And that's a trick to think of. Another thing is backlinking. You have to backlink. I backlink, you go to backlinking. What is backlinking? Backlinking is like you have a link up on Instagram going back to your store. You have it in your profile. You put a book up you're selling, and then you put on Instagram, the link to my store is in my profile next to the book, and they'll see it and they'll go back to your store if they want to buy that book. You go on Pinterest, put a picture of your book, have a backlink going back. You go on Reddit, put a picture of your book, or write about your book. This book from 1910, it's a first edition, first printing. It's in very good condition. Blah, blah, blah. I'm asking $20, $30 for it. And the link is right there. When they click on it, they want to go to your store, it'll go from Reddit, they'll come into your store from the website. Or you put the book up on, what other sites are there? There's LinkedIn, Facebook. You put the book up on Facebook. Whatever you're selling, you put it up on Facebook. Throw a link to your store, write about the book. This book here has a famous movie star. It's signed by the famous movie star. I'm asking $50 for it. It's a first edition, first printing from 1990 or whatever. And they see the book, they like it. They click on a link on Facebook, and they're back in your store, and they're buying it. That's a backlink. That's what we call backlinks. You go to LinkedIn, the same thing, LinkedIn. Put backlinks going to your store. I don't know about LinkedIn. I really don't personally know too much about that site. But there's a ton of sites you could go to and you could backlink. I mean, I know Instagram is pretty big. And there's YouTube, there's like I'm doing here, YouTube. There's a ton of different things. And there's a ton of things to sell. Not only can I sell lonely pine needles, you could sell trees. You know, avocado trees sell between $50 and $100 each. Depending on size. I'm not talking about a 6-foot high tree. I'm talking about a little 2-foot high tree. Lemon trees, lime trees. They sell for good money, and they sell fast. They move fast. Different trees. If you get the trees and they're producing, people will buy them, and they'll pay good money for them. And certain trees, like I said, the longleaf pine needle trees, I was selling them for $40 each, and I was charging $20 shipping, $20, $25. And I was moving, I was doing good. And trees were only like 18 inches high, put them in a box, priority mail, and I'd ship them out. I'd make it stationary where it wouldn't move. You know, on the bottom, have everything taped down. And then have that tree bagged the one side with the roots and stuff with water, and like 5 to 10 bags so it couldn't leak out. And it would be in the box. And I've done that, and I mailed them out, and I made good money with them. It was too many different things. I was into too many different things. I was selling a lot of different things. So what I did was, I more or less put it, I more or less got rid of a lot of things that I was selling, and I moved into where I was making the money. And that was the Lonely Pine Needles and the vintage books. So I stay with the vintage books and the Lonely Pine Needles, and I've been doing well. And I've been backlinking and doing different things to bring traffic to my store, and it works. And yes, there are other things I could sell. I was thinking of going into the trees. I like doing the trees. It was nice growing them. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed growing the Lonely pine needle trees. I did good with them. I sold them. I made good money. I was very happy with it. And I got away from it because it was a lot of extra work boxing them and stuff. So there are different things you could do. There are a lot of different things you could do. So I'm just letting you guys know. That's UPS coming back here. Yeah, UPS comes back here too. Oh boy, he's running over all the dirt and stuff. It's kind of tight coming back here. Oh. Yeah, it's tight for them to come back here because it's a pretty good sized truck, and they got to swing it around. It's a tight area to come into. You got to watch the ground ain't too wet. They don't get ties don't sink and they get stuck. My dog is barking. I got to feed all the dogs, guys. But all right. Making money with Gary. I'm still having my $50 giveaway. October 1st is my $50 giveaway. If you guys are interested, I'm having a $50 I'm walking away from my dogs. They won't stop barking.